Hey guys, back again. EmpathAU doing more readings here again. Unfortunately, the robe's been ditched because it is too fucking hot. Not even into summer, and we're already smashing out those high 20s and mid 30s during the day. But nonetheless, I'll be here. I'll be doing readings. Come on in, join me. Fashionably late, as always, but better late than never. So, yes, I will be around. I'll be doing readings. Topic of the day is methods and their application. So a bit of an interesting one because, well, let's be honest, there's thousands, probably if not hundreds of thousands. Hey, DongDong! That was real quick, you got in here. Thanks for joining me. But, yeah, as I was saying, there's thousands of methods towards divination. And one of the things for reader specifically is figuring out what method aligns best with what query. Specifically, my three areas are tarot, runes, and energy scrying empath readings. And they've been the three that I've developed the most. I've dabbled in others, but they haven't really hit. Like, I tried I Ching, wasn't my groove. A little bit too methodical, if that makes sense. Oh, hey, Daedroth. Happy Thanksgiving to you too there, man. We don't have a Thanksgiving down here, so happy 10th of October. See you in 3 days where we all die on Friday the 13th. Oh. October, Friday the 13th, and Halloween in the same month. Something's good's gonna happen. But yeah, so, and it does come down to the reader as well, specifically what methods mesh with them and what don't. So as I was saying, I Ching just doesn't mesh with me well enough. Specifically being that it's a little too rigid for my taste in how you actually go about getting the results. When I first started doing my tarot readings, I know a lot of people suggest that you take up doing a 3-card past, present, future, and then you try reading using the Celtic cross. I've actually never done a Celtic cross ever. In fact, I jumped straight into designing my own particular spreads, and they've worked well enough. And that was what meshed with me, was the fact that I could muck around with it and I could move it a little bit. And again, with the cards themselves, they're not always saying exactly what the card specifically says in its particular meaning area. Like, for example, the star talks about hope, healing, faith, all those fun things. But it's not always. Sometimes it, I mean, there was a time where somebody was doing a reading and they got the sun card as the advice, and it was literally, you need to go outside and get more sun. They were vitamin D deficient, which is kind of funny. Hey Johnny the Weeb, thanks for joining me, man. Always great to have you here. Haven't got back to any of my emails or anything, and I think you did add me on Discord, so we will talk more there. Yesterday was a huge day, both here and here, so, but nonetheless, feeling a lot better now. If you have any queries, swing them my way. If you guys haven't already seen yet, I got up the first video on YouTube, so that was pretty cool. That way, they're always going to be there from now on. I will upload them straight after I've finished doing the recordings. If not, they'll get uploaded that night. I try to start the upload when the traffic isn't that high here, because again, being the Aussie net, my max upload speed is like 0.8 megabytes, 3 megabits if I'm lucky, and so it takes a while. Like a 1.6 gigabyte video, which is what the last one I uploaded was, took about 7-ish odd hours to upload. So I need to pick and choose where I go about uploading it, because if the lines get too clogged up and chugged up, it actually ends up cancelling and stopping, and that's what happened with the last one. which unfortunately I won't be able to upload because it is 4.5 gigs and it just doesn't seem to connect. I may actually do it if I can scoot around to one of the places around here, like a library or an internet cafe that has faster internet. But until then, it's just going to have to sit there in the archives. But yeah, so these will all go up on YouTube from now on. As you can find my YouTube channel just down there. It's again EmpathAU for everything. It's weird. It doesn't seem anyone wants to use that name. But yeah, methods and their applications. Specifically in saying that for the tarot cards, they don't always say what their card meaning is. You know, they can move back and forth a little bit. They're a little bit more fluid. Same thing with the runes. You'll notice if I ever do a rune reading, I don't try to set specific areas. I know some people are like, okay, this is the physical issues, these are the spiritual issues, these are the emotional issues, these are the etc. Just too constricting, too confining for my taste and for I feel my runes taste, and that's why you'll see a lot of the time I'll just grab them, pull them out, and just chuck them or place them down, and then I'll flip them as they. And there's no method to the way I flip the runes either. There is to my tarot cards because again I built a spread, and the spread really has to stay uniform to get the most out of it. But you'll notice also when reading the spreads, I don't have like set things mean set wise. It's like, you know, this is the advice and this is the problem. Instead, it'll be like, okay, this is the ruler card, which is sort of the title. So actually, this is probably a great time to explain the spread to you guys if you haven't seen it before. Welcome home, Johnny the Weeb. I only just started because I'm fashionably late. I am not designed for an Australian weather. Seriously, like it's last night trying to get to sleep. It was like 2 a.m. and it was still in the high 20s, 20 degrees Celsius. That is. I think that's about 77 Fahrenheit. And I'm just sitting there going, I need to die. Oh, this is too hot. But yes, so you'll notice in my spread, and this is probably the perfect topic to actually explain it, is there's 5 cards, and as you have probably seen, we have 2 cards down the bottom here, we have a card up the top, and then we have 2 cards on the sides. Now, with this particular spread, and I designed it myself, and it was just it just felt right. Actually, originally I designed it without the 2 cards here, but found that it was lacking in clarification, which is why I bring those other 2 cards in. So you have the ruler card, which is the top card here. Only card to not get flipped. So as you'll notice, I'll flip them all like that, which means technically as the card sits now, it becomes reversed. The ruler card is the only card that doesn't have that happen because it flips on its side. But so the ruler card, very much like the title page, the page of context, the outline of the report. If you think of this as like if I was to write up a business report based on this spread and give it off to you. The 2 pawn cards, again, I kind of built this around being like you know, I'm a little bit of a weirdo, kind of like a medieval court, or, you know, kingdom, so to speak. You got the ruler card, the king. He overlooks everything, which is where I was saying, like, the report, you get the you know, it's very much the title page, the outline, it's structure of the report. Pawn cards, you know, the pawns, the serfs, whatever you want to call them, they're the lowerings. They do all the physical work. They do everything required in the kingdom. And so they're the bulk of the reading. They're, you know, the paragraphs, they're the charts, they're the, you know, inserted data. Now, council cards, they're probably the ones that change their role the most. If you were to think of this as a report, they would be the final words. It's like, okay, here's the report we did. Here's our projected, you know, projections. Still haven't finished my first coffee, forgive me. Or, you know, if this was like an analytical essay, these would be the final words trying to be, you know, sway you or, give you advice or change your opinions. And so, but they're the ones that change they change their meanings and their what exactly they're trying to say in the spread more often than anything else. The ruler card still kind of hits the problem on the point. He's there going, okay, this is the issue. Pawn card, same thing again. They can tie in and can be a little bit more wishy-washy backwards and forth with the ruler card, but for the most part, they sit as the bulk. They're like, okay, this is the issue. This is what's going on. This is where things are going. This is what things has happened. Now, the council cards, they change up quite often. They're either sort of like, sometimes you'll see me refer to them as the past and future council cards, because I've noticed sometimes my spread will act like a timeline. So going down, coming up, and then out this side. So maybe that, okay, this is what's happened in the past, and this is what you're moving towards the future. Sometimes they both act as counselors, in which case they're saying, okay, this is the advice. So you can see they're on either side of the ruler card, giving him his advice. And with that, they can sometimes be conflicting in nature. Or, that word's been escaping me for the last 4 or 5 days, and it's bugging me. Two choices that you can only have one. And I can't think of the word. If anyone knows that word, swing it in the chat room. I'm having a mental blank. And so, depends on what they're trying to say about the spread, and it depends on the query itself. I noticed is that a good lot of times the query definitely tends to frame just how the cards come out and what they're doing and how they're sitting. Sometimes you'll see cards interlined across. So the pawn card that may be over here will line up with that piece of advice, and same thing with that way over there. Don't know why they like to crisscross. It just seems to be mutually exclusive. Thank you, Daedroth. The only way I could actually play it up in my head is I'm like, it's that thing when you're playing an RPG and it's like, nah, you got to choose one or two like pathways. I just could not for the life of me remember it. Anyway, I rambled on enough. DongDong sent me a query. Just thought you guys might be a little bit interested in the way that the tarot readings come out and exactly what they mean. So in future, if you like, I will actually do a video based on my tarot spreads and what they actually mean. So you'll have, and put it up on YouTube, so you have a reference, so to speak, to come back to in the sense of how it works, what cards mean what, and the way, so if you ever do get a tarot spread, you can be like, oh, that's what he means by that, and this is why, okay. So, just something to keep in mind. I'll throw it up on YouTube. I'll do that up later today, after all my gym. Ugh. Alrighty, so... who is bugging me? Yes, I'm very okay. Alrighty, DongDong, female. I'm going to be satisfied with my life in the future. This is a hard question because there's no time limit on it, if that makes sense. And so it's hard to specifically say, yes, you're going to be satisfied. Is there any particular area of your future you want to be you want it to look look towards for satisfaction? If you can spit it out, Matt. Because if I try to do this sort of reading, it's going to be, especially with an energy scry, it's going to be like left, right, and center. I could combine it with the tarot reading, and I believe you said that if I should just choose the methods later on. But is there any specific area, just because it's a very open-ended query and it's one that's going to just, have a lot of, like I said, open-endedness to it? if she replies. Ah, man. Seems I only ever get bugged whenever I sit down to actually do my stream. Bloody hell. Well, I'll do both. It's just, is there a particular area? Tell you what, I'll do the reading as it is, but again, keep in mind it is a very open-ended query and very, I guess, impossible to be completely satisfied with life. We're always going to run into problems. Whereas, you know, I like to say that I'm 99% happy of the time, and that I like to, you know, I usually have this dumb, goofy smile on my face. But yesterday I had a pretty shit day, had a pretty bad day, and so it's like one of the, you know, 10 or so I get every year, which isn't too bad, but it doesn't mean that I am 100% happy all the time, because it's impossible to be. If you be, then you've got something wrong up there. Nonetheless, I'll do the reading. I've rambled on enough. Let's give it a try. Huh. Get back here. Alrighty, very interesting spread, and we'll get into why that is. So we've got the 10 of Swords reversed, and Temperance reversed. This is ruled over by the 6 of Swords reversed, and this is cancelled by the 9 of Swords, and the Fool. Now, this is a perfect example of what I was saying of the past and future council cards, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But Temperance reversed and the 10 of Swords reversed, which are the two down here. Now tie that in with the 6 of Swords reversed. Now the 6 of Swords reversed we'll get into a little bit later, and I specifically know what it means because of my, you know, the rapport that we share, how much we've talked back and forth. But, so the 10 of Swords reversed and Temperance reversed. I believe these two cards are basically saying, they're kind of a slap in the face almost, with the query being, you know, am I going to be satisfied with my life in the future? Actually, first, empath reading. So the empath reading was, so I had to look at your path first, and as I said, there was ups, there's downs, it's rocky, sometimes it's paved, it's all over the shop, you know, there's good, there's bad, you know, and they may not be always in equal measure at the time, but it tends to, you know, play out most of the part. I didn't look too far, but the vision I got was basically a purple lilac. I think it was a lilac. Encased in a... Jesus, I just hit the mic. Encased in a glass shell, kind of like out of the Beauty and the Beast. And I just kept putting my hand on it and sort of, you know, trying to be like, oh, this is beautiful, this is great, this is, you know, really nice. But even so, all I could feel was cold glass, and I didn't know that warmth of this purple lilac. And it felt warm because it was like radiating. Which again leads me to believe that that particular vision, oh, my nose is going crazy again today, is leading me to believe that it's saying, look, if you try to only focus on being satisfied and having a good future, you're going to have to bundle it up, because the only way that you can have happiness forever is if it can't interact with the greater world. You know, it's that whole bubble boy thing. If, you know, you pop his bubble, he interacts with the world, he dies. I mean, actually, did you guys ever see that old 90s movie, The Bubble Boy? And he's not actually sick and he's not actually needing of it, but, you know, it's that whole too afraid of letting the world interact and hurt what you appreciate and what you love the most, that you encase it and that you keep it locked up. Because, again, yes, it can't be hurt if it's locked up, but it also can't be touched. It can't be held. And I believe that's what this is saying here. So the Temperance reverse and the Ten of Swords reverse. So both these cards are saying, like, so the Temperance reverse, you know, understand imbalances are going to happen. You know, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, and there's going to be all sorts of things. You know, one day you might be on fire, the next day you're freezing. And the Ten of Swords as well, you know, giving up too soon. And I don't get the Ten of Swords reversed all that often. Let me just double check that. Yeah, losing hope, giving up, being melodramatic. And so again, those two cards combined together down here is leading me to believe that the spread is saying, look, chillax. Life is going to be life. You know, part of the fun of life, and I always say this is why I don't usually do readings for I don't ever do readings for myself, and I don't usually get readings. I think I've had as many readings as, you know, less than fingers I have on my hands. Not including practice ones, helping, you know, developing readers. But these two cards are basically saying, look, life is fun. Life is meant to be mysterious and have its ups and its downs and all sorts of things. Now, the Six of Swords reversed. Tie this into the two cards down here and also back to the past council position. Past council card. There we go. So the Six of Swords reversed. Talks about, so the Six of Swords usually talks about escape, leaving a bad situation. When it's reversed, it talks about convincing yourself to stay, and that, you know, it's like, oh no, it's fine, it's good to stay here, it's scary out there, I can't do that. And again, it's that same sort of mental game. It's still the same card, you know, the escape, leaving a bad situation, getting out of it. But when it's reversed, it's talking about having the boat there, having all your swords packed away in the boat, and you stand there, and you're looking back, and you're looking, and you're looking back, and you're looking, and you're like, do I really want to go? I believe there's a story in the Bible, actually, can never remember specific names, but a family is fleeing from a city that's being destroyed for its hedonism, and they're told not to look back. And the wife, she looks back and is immediately turned to salt. I think it's salt. Yeah. And so that's the same thing. It's that same feeling of, I know I need to get out. I know I have to escape, but there's something that keeps tying me back, and it's something that makes me want to look over my shoulder at, you know, that city. Now, the council cards, the Nine of Swords, insomnia, being worked up, not being able to sleep, that, you know, all these thoughts in your head just keeping you tied up and messed up. And I believe these two, as being in the past position, is the fact that these thoughts, which are in the present, as you can see with the Six of Swords as well, are based on the past. Again, your upbringing, your small town, where you come from, again, the interpersonal issues that you've been experiencing. So all these things are playing on your mind, and all these things are what is working you up down here, saying, you know, oh, am I ever going to overcome this? Am I ever going to be happy? Am I ever going to see, you know, a satisfying life? And again, the ruler card being the Six of Swords reversed is kind of saying, it's low-key saying, yeah, if you get out of here. Again, it's trying to be like the, you know that this place isn't exactly the best place for you, but again, it's that you get trapped, you get into a rut, and it's comfortable. Ruts are very, what's the word I'm looking for? Ruts are comfortable, and that's why they exist. You wouldn't stay in a rut with a big giant spike up your ass, so to speak. Some people might. Anyway, and so that's the thing, is a rut is so dangerous because they form to you, and you get all comfortable, and you sort of sit there like, this is fine. It's a little painful, and I'm a little hungry, and there's food over there, but it's fine because it's comfortable, because you're going, saying, you know, this is great, this is cool, I'm happy here, because you don't have to press your boundaries. You don't have to. Is that music still playing? Yes, the music is still playing. You don't have to make risks, and this is a big fear of mine, actually, and this is one that I had to overcome quite recently. It's one that I've been dealing with ever since I was probably about 15, 16, so almost a decade now. Actually, a decade now, and that's if you don't. My fear of failure is a huge thing, and the idea of failing and being seen as a failure and people recognizing my failures was a huge fear of mine. And the problem with that as a fear is specifically it leads into the next part, which is if you don't try, you can't fail. And so that is some dangerous thinking where you go, if you do even take up something and you notice that you're starting to get a little bit over-swamped and you're like, okay, then you can lead to the belief that if you just chuck it all behind you, nah, I'm done, it's cool, you didn't try. Therefore, you can't say that you failed because you've gone, well, I never tried. I could have totally done that if I put my mind to it. So again, these fears are what keeps us trapped in these particular ruts. Now, the great thing about this spread, the future card, is the Fool. Beautiful card. The Fool is great because it is literally everything. All these roads stand up before me. If you think of my hands as a crossroad, and you're standing right here in the middle, there's 10 different ways you can walk. And all of them are within your power to choose. And all these choices and all these particular outcomes. The Fool is very much... I don't really like the negative connotations with the Fool specifically, because to me, I believe that the Fool is, no, do it. Go for it. There's all these paths. There's all these particular avenues right in front of you. All you need to do is choose one and take it. Or choose a few of them and move back and forth. So the fact that that is a future counsel card is really, really powerful and gives me some really good feelings about this spread and this reading, in that the sense of, if you can overcome all this, this is what you got to look forward to. And it's a great card to have as a future counsel card. But thank you for your query. If you have any feedback, feel free to swing it to me in the emails. Again, I will figure this out. That's right, EmpathAU@gmail.com, or you can use the same form that you sent the query in with. But again, open-ended question, which kind of, the card's really concise and focused it, and so that is something that you need to overcome and understand, that you're not going to be satisfied forever. You're not going to be satisfied always. It's just a part of life, I believe that's how hedonism comes about, is when you're overly satisfied all the time, and then you start pushing the boundaries. And let's not go making a Slanesh cult, okay? You're very welcome. It was my pleasure. Oh, this bloody nose is driving me mad. Alrighty, so John Mail, Red Star. Gonna have to use the normal tarot deck. The Oracle deck isn't. I haven't updated the website because I haven't been able to get a hold of the guy who made it for me, and he didn't give me the email and password for it to get in and alter it. But I will just use my normal tarot deck here. How will my volunteer group go in the next few months? Any new people, tasks, activities I should be on the lookout for? No worries. interesting. So, we got the Two of Wands and the Three of Wands. This is ruled over by the King of Cups, and this is counselled by the Four of Swords reversed and the Five of Pentacles reversed. So, actually, let me pull them down out of that reading up there. So, first things first, 2 and 3 of Wands, both as the pawn cards, is interesting. How will my volunteer group go in the next few months? The Two of Wands is, again, and I love that Daedroth actually gave me this line, is mutually exclusive choices. So it is very much, there's two wands, got to make a choice and follow it through. Now, the Three of Wands is also very interesting because it talks about making a choice and then waiting. That you can't do anything else more about it. It's like, I like the imagery down here because it's a man standing on the shore and he's seeing a boat sail away. And to me, I've always liked the idea that you've bundled up your supplies, you've put them on the boat, and you've sent them off to be traded over in East India. You can't do anything else. Your supplies are on the boat. You've got to wait for it to get there. It's going to take a couple of months to sail there, and in that meantime, all you can do is wait. You can't speed the boat up. You can't, make the deals any quicker. They're very much in the pipes, and you have to just wait now. The King of Cups is interesting because the King of Cups talks about it's a very strong man. Obviously, he's a king and he's made himself and whatnot, but it's a man who has put his heart on the back burner to become the king, to get the prestige and to develop. And the problem is now he needs to find an outlet, find a creative or a way to tap into his heart so that he can feel comfortable again, because he's put so much of himself on the back burner that he is no longer being of himself. And so that King of Cups may very well be, as you're saying here, new people. There might be a very strong person, a very strong figure, either career or, specifically like of appearance or of just social nature. And now he's finding an outlet to get back into touch with his heart. Four of Swords reversed and the Five of Pentacles reversed. Now, the Five of Pentacles talks about needing assistance. Just trying to double check what it is when it's reversed, because it's been a while. So, ignoring help that is offered, feeling ostracized. And the Four of Swords, which usually talks about rest and recuperation, escapism. Okay, that's interesting. These two cards might be talking about this particular gentleman here, or the people that are going to come into tasks and activities. I believe this is what that was covering. Like, they're in the pipes, they're being set up, they're already planned. There's very little wiggle room, so to speak, in that there's a couple of choices. Again, as I was saying with the Two of Wands, there's some choices, and it may be that these choices are whether you participate in them. Maybe they'll go, oh, hey, by the way, guys, we got these 2, 3, 4 different things, and we need to find volunteers for each different section. Because it's the Two of Wands, I'm going to say 2. And maybe, okay, we're going to be doing this over here, and we're going to be doing that over here. Now, this particular part of the spread is very interesting because I'm trying to figure out if this King of Cups is another person, as per you saying, any new people and activities, or if it's you yourself and it's tying in with the counter card. So, the Four of Swords reversed and the Five of Pentacles reversed. Interesting combination. So you've got the Four of Swords reversed in the past council position, saying, escapism, hiding away, ignoring problems. And it may be that these new people who come into your volunteer group are looking for just that, a way to escape their life, to be like, oh, no, I'm fine, I don't need to worry about my problems because there are people with greater problems and I can help them. You do find those people in volunteer groups and volunteer efforts, which is, I've been there. I haven't done that, but I've been in volunteer groups and seen it. Clarification. Now, the Five of Pentacles is saying, despite whatever their reasons to coming into these volunteer groups, ignoring the help is not going to help. It's that needing assistance and ignoring it is what the Five of Pentacles reverse. And the fact that it's in the future council position leads me to believe that, and it may be that the King of Cups is saying you, and it's saying that you need to be a little bit more open and receptive of these people that come to you, and that not everyone's going to come to volunteering for the sincerest reasons. You know, some people just want to be there so that they're reminded that there are people worse off in the world than them, which it's like, dude, why? But you can also kind of understand why they're there, and if they're helping, then you know, it's don't look a gift horse in the mouth. So, how will my volunteer group go in the next few months? It's looking pretty strong. Maybe a little issues with these new people that are coming in, or you know, maybe these are past issues that are people that are already there, and that, you know, the Five of Pentacles reversed is talking about, you know, don't ignore the help of those who you may not get along with, that who are already there. And again, with the, you know, the Two of Wands and the Three of Wands as well, tying in that, you know, these choices and these activities are already sort of set in the pipes. You know, don't ignore help if you take up one of them, and a person that you're not really cool with takes it up with you. Don't be like, nah, piss off, you know, I can do this myself. Maybe this is a time to reconnect as the King of Cups, and to be a little bit more feelsy and interpersonal, and to take off the crown for a second. But yeah, thank you for your query. I always like these ones. What volunteer work do you do? I'm actually interested about that. So not a big Christmassy fan myself. When I was living out of home, I didn't see my family at all, because they all like to travel and head over to their extended family. So I'd go down to the soup kitchens, which ironically enough is held in the same place that I do my martial arts. So yeah, and I'd chill out down there and do some volunteering over the Christmas period. Not that the Christmas period is cold, but it's always nice to still have people. Alrighty. Who is bugging me? Alrighty, Daedroth, my man. Let's get this query. Done, man. I will be on Discord after this stint of streaming. So yeah, no, hit me up there. Oh yes, the library. I think I do remember. I think I remember you saying something about this in thread once. Daedroth. Human! And the masters of the universe. Alrighty. Give me a second. Ooh, almost lost you. Oh, cool. That's interesting. Working and volunteering in the library. Nice. Oh, that's a really cool spread. So we got the Empress and the King of Swords. This is ruled over by the Three of Pentacles, and this is counseled by the Nine of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles. I had to think about that for a second. I'm looking on the screen going, what is that card? What is that card? What is that card? That it is. Yeah, no, I guess the quick and dirty of this spread would be, would a stint in the reserves go for me? Yes, and we'll get into why that is. So the Empress and the King of Swords. Now, the King of Swords is very logical, very routine, very organized, very set. And so that card is definitely giving me a big jump out in towards of in the sense of, you know, it gives a really good feeling about the life of an army and the life of a reserve. You know, that structure, that hierarchy, that, you know, built-in system, so to speak. King of Swords very much ties it in, and it's interesting that it's also counterbalanced by the Empress, and so the Empress is very much the inner self, and, you know, understanding your place in the world, and that it's the Empress is great because where the High Priestess is both feminine, but it's feminine intuition heading up into the stars and looking at the greater things and going, you know, oh, yeah, this is good and that is great and this is that, and it's that very much being inspired to bring out the inner and the greater parts of the life. The Empress is a little more physical. It's about enjoying the life as it is, smelling the flowers, laying down on the grass. You know, it's that very much that feeling of being of the world and enjoying the physical part of the world. Still very feminine because it's that creative side, that, you know, that intuition that comes with femininity, but it's still being in the world and being of, like, whereas the High Priestess is being of the world and the greater secrets of it, the Empress is very much being in the world and enjoying its parts. And I believe these two cards, and tie that in with the Three of Pentacles now. The Three of Pentacles is working hard at something and mastering a skill and loving what you do. And it's great because this ties in really nicely with, you know, the idea of the reserves, because the Three of Pentacles is very physical. You know, if you look in the artwork here, he's literally laboring over a furnace as he makes his pentacles. It is interesting because the 3 and the 8 of Pentacles kind of line up. You know, they're both talking about mastering an art and being good at what you do, albeit, you know, the 3 of Pentacles is a little bit more work-related, you know, loving what you do as your work, whereas, you know, the 8 of Pentacles is more scholarly pursuits and can include hobbies as well. Really, they're back and forth for me, but the clear indicator here is in the artwork. And the 3 of Pentacles is very physical, you know, getting my arm in there and, you know, making these pentacles, whereas the 8 of Pentacles is, you know, it's middle of the night, he's got a candle there and he's slowly chiseling away his, you know, pentacles, and he's carving them and polishing them, and it's very much feels a lot more scholarly and a lot less physical. Now, the fact that this is the ruler card for this spread is great, getting some very strong physical vibes that you're going to, you know, really enjoy the physical parts to it, and you're going to enjoy building these skills and, you know, loving what you do with doing this. Now, it's interesting with this spread, the past council card, which is the Knight of Wands. Now, I'm going to read this because I know exactly what it says, but it's a great little card and I think you'll enjoy the line, which is, you are caught unawares by a failure. Things did not turn out as planned. Learn from this situation and resume the battle. I love that little line there. Now, this is definitely talking about, you know, your, in particular, your, the idea of going into the army, and that, you know, I believe we had a spread before, and it also talks about, I believe you've had some past experiences, or, you know, those past, you know, searching into the army or searching for jobs, I think. I think, if I'm off track, let me know. I think I kind of remember you saying something about this. But I believe that card is fantastic as the past council card, because it's saying, look, things didn't go all right back then. They were pretty shit. Don't let that muck you around now. You've lost the battle. Don't give up the war. Keep going. Push through into this. And now the future council card, the Knight of Pentacles. And it's interesting because it talks about battles as well, and this is why I got it up. You have fought some battles and enjoyed some adventures. Now you would like to rest and regroup, maybe spend some time enjoying quieter, more domestic scenes. You may need to adopt a protective or defensive stance. Now, this is what I think it ties into the reserves. It's these two cards on either side is saying, so the Knight of Pentacles isn't saying give up completely, but it's saying having that ability to back away and to enjoy yourself and go, okay, you know, this part in the middle here talking about the structure, the routine, the regiment, the hierarchy of army life, it's going to be great for you, and it's going to develop both that mental fortitude and that, you know, that very male way of thinking. Again, swords being the logic card, being very much of the mind, and the king being the epiphany of the male, so that male way of thinking. But the Empress with that still, you know, feminine, because again, creativity and nurturing and all that sort of, it's very feminine trait. And I believe the Empress here is saying that you're going to be able to combine both of these while undertaking the reserves. Specifically in the sense that you're going to gain that camaraderie, that you know, that again, boys connect in a way that we can't really explain, and it is still kind of feminine, if that makes sense, you know. But again, the Empress is very much about being in the world. It's not just a feminine card. It is the feminine card, but it's of being in the world and enjoying the world's, you know, what the world has to offer, and being caught up and you know, inspired by what it can give us, rather than our minds looking up and looking around. So the fact that you have the King of Swords, male way of thinking, the Empress being in the world and connecting with what the world has, combined with the Three of Pentacles, which is loving what you do and enjoying what you do and the fruits of your labor, very, very positive spread about, particularly, you know, a stint in the reserves, especially that physical aspect here, you know, and the, you know, if you think about it, mind, body, soul, and you've got the three connected here, and that there's a very great synergy going between these three cards. Bromance. But the counter cards also play up the fact of, you know, that whole full-time army, especially if you see of it in the sense of the way your particular query. Although a full-time in the army might not be a good idea, Nine of Wands, again, you've looked into this and you've, you know, had a look and you had that failure. Oh shit. How would a stint in the reserves go for me? Knight of Pentacles. Now, the fact that it's a knight, you know, knights being the warriors of the particular tarot cards, again, the knight, he's fighting and he's pushing his way through the forest and he's making trails and he's really, you know, doing his part as a knight, but he also needs to relax. He's not as gun-ho as the Knight of Wands. He's not as, you know, he can't be inspired like the Knight of Cups to, you know, action, and he's not focused and on point as the Knight of Swords. So he'll push through and he'll fight, but now every now and then he needs to take a break and be like, all right, I need to just relax now. Cool. All right, I'm ready for the next battle. And again, that card is the future counter card, really plays into the reserves in the sense of, yes, I want to be a part of it and I can enjoy that bromance and I can have this skill development and do these things, but on the same time, I need to also still stay in real life, you know, as a civilian, and go about that. Okay, I've got other things I need to look after. You know, I need to look after me right now, because if you go into the full army, there's no more you. You're gone. You're dead. You don't exist. You are just soldier. To your comrades, and to your like platoon and squad, you are still you, but to the grand scheme of things, you're a soldier, and that's it. In the reserve, you still maintain that sense of individuality and that ability to back away from that life if it is a bit too much. So, how would a stint in the reserves go? I think I've rambled on long enough. It looks very, very positive. Thank you for the query. Any feedback you have would be awesome. That was an on-point query, in my opinion. That was, I will say, my computer is holding up pretty darn well with streaming and recording. I haven't seen any issues, no stuttering. Seems the only thing I'm lacking now is good internet. Alrighty. Empath explains his tarot spread, and now everyone wants to do tarot. I've explained my spread a few times, and I've still yet to see anyone use it, so I don't think it's that good. It's not that good. DongDong, female. Blue stairs. Ooh. Will I ever get married to some cute girl? Again, this is a tough query because again, it's that long arm. Again, it's that this life that just goes on forever. I don't think that was to me. So I can give it a try. We'll have a look. No promises. You're very welcome, Daedroth. It's all good, DongDong. It's just, the reason you don't need to apologize. It's just whether or not you're going to get any sort of, I guess, solid feedback or solid, answers, so to speak. Like, it's really hard to give a solid answer on your whole life because that is a huge amount of time, and actually, like, sitting down and figuring it out would be. Will I ever get married to some cute girl? Interestingly enough, the reading that I did played back into that last query. I stood on a stairwell. Again, blue stairs, kind of makes sense. And I started walking up. But as I kept walking, the stairs just kept getting longer and longer. If you've ever played Mario 64, perfect example. Those just continuous, endless stairs. And so I just kept walking. And because I kept going, no, there's something up there that I want. Like, she's up there. When despite that, downstairs there was a party happening, and in fact I got invited. A woman come up and she said, "What are you doing? There's a party down here." And I said, "No, it's fine." I didn't even look over my shoulder. I was just sort of very dismissive. I'm like, I got to keep going this way. And so, again, that particular reading plays into what I was saying before, where I think your focus is on the wrong spot, and that you're trying to move up these stairs into something that doesn't exist. It may very well not exist when you're not coming down and seeing what there is on offer. For all you know, there could be some cute thing down at this party, but you're so focused on where you want to be and where you need to be, and all these thoughts in your head, and it's like, no, that's so much so that it's stopping you from seeing what's actually going on here and what's actually on offer. And I believe that's also a future warning as well, in the sense of, don't get caught up in your station being here and you saying that you have to be here when, right here, yeah, sure, eventually you will slowly make your way up to here, but for now, keep your eyes on the area. It's those who focus on the past miss the present. Those who focus on the future miss the present. In fact, I actually wrote up a playwright specifically about that issue about 7-8 years ago. In the sense of a father missing everything his child is doing because he's so focused on achieving what's achieving what's later down the track, that by the time that he realized he can no longer reach those, because he had binoculars constantly strapped to his head, so all he could see was the future. He couldn't see what was around him. And so that was the thing, is by the time that he got to a point where he realized his body was giving out and he couldn't physically reach where he was seeing, he had lost everything around him. His son had grown, his son had gone and made his own family, and because he hadn't been part of it, he no longer had any part to this life. By the time those binoculars were pulled off, he realized he had nothing in the present because he was always living in the future. And that's the same thing I get from this particular query is that you can't keep living in the future, because if you do, you're going to miss what the present has to offer. I'm going to quote Kung Fu Panda here, and it's, "Yesterday is history, tomorrow, mystery, but today is a gift." That's why it's called present. Yes, so didn't really answer your question, so to speak, but I believe that it did leave you with something to think about, and it did tap into that other query that you gave me as well. So any feedback you have would be fantastic. And everyone I knew in the US Reserves loves it. Daedroth, I wish our military wasn't so cucked compared to the US though. Fucking weird man Prime Minister. Poor Canada. Poor Canada. Don't you guys have like one of the best spec ops though? Like, you know, I can't remember what the Canadians, they're like the Canadian Special Forces, and they're like way up here compared to the rest of the world. They're like on point or something. Maybe I'm getting them confused with somebody else. And Valve hitting me with a nice question. I like it. Oh, I need to get a haircut. Ugh. But yeah, so Valve, red and white Cobra, Tarot right away. Should I give practicing a magic a go? Let's see what they have to say. Welcome back, Johnny the Weeb. Alrighty. Ooh, interesting. Let's line this up a little better. Alrighty, so we got the Tower reversed and Justice reversed. This is ruled over by the King of Pentacles, and this is counseled by the Ace of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles reversed. Yeah, that's the one, the Joint Task Force 2. And you're very welcome, DongDong. That's what I've always thought divination is about. It's not about clear yes or no answers. It's about giving you the insight and the thought-provoking material for you to sit back and go, huh, okay, yeah. And so you can make your own choices. It's less about choosing life for you, but giving you more information so you can make the choice that you'll be happiest with. And I will do that, Admiral Wrinkler. Oh yeah, that's right, Admiral Wrinkler is Valve. Okay, let's get into the spread. Tower reversed and Justice reversed. This is ruled over by the King of Pentacles, and this is counseled by the Ace of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles reversed. Interesting thing, so the Tower reversed is an interesting card because it is a duality card, and you always really need to look at the rest of the cards going around it to get what particular message it's saying. Either it's saying you're being melodramatic and over-dramatizing a situation, or denying a situation has happened. So it's one of two things. Either it's you turning, either you're going, oh, this is so bad, blah, 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 or you're being an ostrich and sticking your head in the sand going, it's fine, nothing's wrong. Now, the Justice reversed, interesting card. It talks about, again, another duality card. So it's very interesting that you got both these duality cards down the bottom here. Duality in the sense of when the Justice reversed, it's saying, if you are due for some rewards, they're going to come a little slower. Justice is going to act slower than you would like. And I always like to use the analogy, it's like being on a, it's like being in a jury, and a man gets pulled into court, and he was literally caught with the knife in the woman. Like he was caught literally blood red-handed, and yet you still need to go through the process. You still you still need to go through the this is all the, this is all the evidence, this is all the things, this is the statements, then you have to go do the jury deliberation, and what should just be a, he's here, cool, we caught him, right, 30 years, take him away, turns into like 3, 4, 5 days. And so it is that slow process of justice. Now, alternatively, again, as we're saying with the duality, it could be that if you've escaped punishment, if you think that you've gone, oh yeah, nah, Totes escaped that punishment, that's awesome. Karma always comes back to bite you in the ass. So again, it's that slow process, but it's that, look, so the justice card, you will get your just rewards or punishments based on past actions. When reversed, it's still the same thing, but it's saying, shit's coming slower. If you've been good, nice, hold out, Santa's eventually coming. If you've been bad, it's gonna get you, bruh. So, now, the King of Pentacles is an interesting card. He's the very last card in the tarot. And you want the best things in life and happy to work for them. At this point, you have worked hard and long. You have wielded your authority and talent wisely. You would like to set down responsibility even just for a while. So, interesting card that it's the ruler card, because what it says, as you heard me just read out then, doesn't feel like what I'm getting the vibe from this spread. I'm getting the vibe that the King of Pentacles is that he's a king, but he's very much a king within the world. Whereas the King of Swords, very logical. King of Wands, very emotional. King of Cups, Wands being passionate, not emotional. King of Cups is emotional. King of Pentacles is realistic. He's very much in the world, and he's like, okay, I've got my money here, I've got my properties there. This is pretty good. And I get the feeling that's what it's saying, is you got to be very realistic about how you go into this. You got to very much, I think it's saying that you got to ground yourself in reality if you're going to take up magic, and especially being the king, it's the pinnacle. I'll come back to that in a second. Now, the Ace of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles reversed. Now, the Ten of Pentacles reversed, another card I don't see all that often. I see it upright, just not reversed very often. So, okay. So the Ace of Cups being, is a very emotional card. Lots of love, lots of emotion, lots of good things, and love, and, you've got a cup and it's completely full of, love and affection, and it's that great bit of emotion as well. And it's also a very strong heart card. Now, the Ten of Pentacles reversed talks about waiting for a windfall, and the best way to explain this card is those sort of people who are in debt and floundering, and they will rather spend $50 a week on lottery tickets than actually try to get rid of that debt. It's the, no, Tote's gonna work, man. Tote's gonna fix everything. It's that waiting for a windfall. And so, this whole spread, to tie it in together, should I give practicing magic a go? Not yet. And I say not yet because I get the feeling that these two cards are very, very strong cards. The Tower reversed and the Justice reversed. And I believe what this is saying is that the way I'm reading them is the Tower reversed, denying something has happened, and Justice reversed is that I get the feeling that you haven't been a completely good boy, and that you've got some bad karma that is meant to bite you in the ass. Last thing you want to do is to bring in negative karma when you start practicing magic, because then it just makes it go and exponentially expands. And the last thing you want is to give fuel to bad karma. So ground yourself in realism right now. Again, with the Ten of Pentacles reverse being the Future Council card, it's that don't go into magic expecting it to solve issues, expecting it to be the solver or your windfall, so to speak. And the Ace of Cups, again, is that a very emotional past, and I'm not exactly sure what this card's doing here. I'm a little confused, so I'll leave that up to you. But these three cards are very, very straightforward with what they're saying, in the sense of don't start magic just now. Ground yourself in reality. Find your place within reality. Again, actually, the King of Pentacles, setting down responsibility for a bit. Don't take up another responsibility. Magic is, especially if it's magic that I think we've talked about, getting into that does bring a level of responsibility. It brings a level of, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, responsibility. And there's also, like, you know, your expectations is the word I'm looking for. There's a level of expectation that comes with practicing these sorts of magics. Summonings, dealing with the, you know, gods, offerings, communions, all those sort of things. And again, the King of Pentacles, I get the feeling, is saying, don't take up another responsibility now. Shirk a few responsibilities, have a bit of fun, ground yourself in reality, and let this past issue, this past karma that you've got built up on your back, bite you in the ass first. Let it be a chihuahua that bites you in the ass, not a Doberman. Because, you know, one's going to hurt a lot more than the other. And that's the chihuahua. But yeah, so, should I give practicing magic a go? Not just yet. This isn't a solid no. Again, the reading itself doesn't say no. I think that might be the Ace of Cups, is that, you know, back in the past, it's like there's good potential here. And again, being in the past, again, you know, the cups being very emotional, very spiritual sort of cards. So there is potential sitting here in you in the past, but there's other things you've got to work through right now. Otherwise, you know, and again, that don't go to magic expecting it to be a solver of problems. Any feedback you want to provide would be fantastic. That was a very interesting query. Feel free to swing it in the chat room or via the emails. You know, my email's just over there, empathau@gmail.com. And yeah, that was a very interesting reading. Oh wow, I've scooched through all the readings. On that note, I've just ticked over an hour. I'm gonna go get another cup of coffee, get a glass of water. Exactly, yeah. It could very well be that it's, you know, it could be a misfire and the gun's gonna blow up in your hand. So again, ground yourself in reality. This is something that I've come to realize with those who go into magics, especially Goetia, but then again, me and Goetia. But yeah, so a lot of people tend to go into magic as a recluse, and then they shy themselves away even more. The problem is, the moment you do that, you lose touch with reality. And reality is what inspires our intuition. And you know what? Again, it's not a solid no. There are definitely avenues in which you can look towards to undertake, you know, magic and development. But yeah, okay, that may be it, because attracting positive actions. First step, nothing saying that you can't start researching. Researching is always the first key. Nothing is saying that you can't, you know, start grabbing grimoires, and I always call them grimoires for some reason. It's something that happened in my kid brain. It just got stuck. But yeah, you can always grab grimoires, you can grab research notes, and you can start building a repertoire in your head of knowledge and understanding. But I get the feeling there's other things that need to go down first before you should start practicing. In the sense of, don't go, you know, gun-ho, grab everything, throw it down, and then, you know, whatever happens. This is very slow process. So start building now. Start, you know, getting some knowledge and understanding, and maybe even looking at where it is you want to study, and where it is, like, what particular areas of magic you want to go into, and then figure out how, like, what this Tower and Justice combo is meant to be, and then from there overcome it, and then move through. Hit me up next week with another query about this. What's the word? I'm happy to do a follow-up query to see, you know, that is, if you make efforts. You know, don't just come back next week and be like, hey, I did nothing, can you do me another reading? If you go about making efforts to see this Tower and Justice worked out, or maybe even you can sit down and have some introspection and go, oh, by the way, Empath, I had a quick squiz and I went, you know, it could be this and it could be that. Could you give me some clarification if these are the issues I need to get rid of, or, you know, need to work on? And that would be an awesome query as a follow-up, but in a different vein. Alrighty, so I'm going to go grab another coffee. I'm going to get a glass of water. You guys can do the same. I'll be back in about 30 seconds. Actually, a little bit longer, probably about a minute. And back. Probably a little bit longer than a couple of minutes, but nonetheless. Yes, Admiral Wrinkler, research and meditation. Both great starts. Now, next query. Ooh, big one. Alrighty. John, male, right away. Where should I look to improve myself? That's a doozy of a question, man. But I love these. These are probably my favorite questions. So, I have a fan kind of going because it is just ridiculously hot. I get up and I walk out there to get my coffee and whatnot, and I'm already sweating just from not being in front of the fan for like 2-3 minutes. But yeah, so John, we'll give it a try. scooch them across. And so as I was saying, you know, flipped. Alrighty, interestingly enough. So, we have Justice and the Five of Swords reversed. This is ruled over by the World, and this is cancelled by the Ten of Swords and the Five of Pentacles. Interesting combination of cards. So, council cards we'll get into a second, but the Justice and the Five of Swords reversed. Now, the Five of Swords talks about a hard-earned victory. When it's reversed, it is... Okay. So when it's reversed, it's thinking a battle is the only way to win, and that, you know, that's that very much a... It's kind of like an Aries card in the sense of, nah, just gotta keep hitting it, I'll eventually win. You know, the fighting's the only way to solve things. Now, the Justice cards, you will get your just rewards or punishments based on your past actions. And I believe that these two cards are tying in together themselves to say that you need to learn from the past. So the Five of Swords reversed, definitely giving the feeling that you're very much somebody who would rather run into something and go, no, I've got to solve this now. This has got to get done now. And so, and it's that, again, not a fight isn't just always a physical fight. You know, a fight could be a debate. A fight could be, you know, sorting something out now. And I get the feeling that you might be not very, but seen as a little overly pushy and a little overly, oh god. You know, again, that fighting spirit, and it's that really? Come on, man. The Justice card is interesting because I get the feeling it's tying into the World up here. I get the feeling that these two cards basically saying you need to learn from your past and learn from how you have interacted with your past in the sense of, you know, how you've gone about in career, love, studies, interpersonal. Look at all those things and see where you've, you know, again, this fighting spirit, where things have... I'll get that down there so it's a little bit easier to see. And have a look at what has happened and, you know, where these particular moments have sparked up. Now, the ruler card is the World. It's interesting because, again, this particular part isn't feeling too confident. It's feeling a little bit kind of but off. Like I'm not seeing something else, and I may see this more as I read the spread. Where should I look into improve myself? This bloody nose. Now, the World card is the last card in the Major Arcana. And the reason why this is its completion. It's the ending of a cycle and beginning of a new cycle. And it's very interesting because in the card, if I can actually get the imagery up here, you can see she's holding a baton. He, she, it's meant to be some hermaphrodite. But if you see, she's holding a baton in the back part here. And so to me, I've always taken that as very much like when you see baton races. One person passes it on to the other, and that other person grabs it and then continues the race. Same race, just it's a new leg, it's a new start, it's a change of people. And so I always really like this card because, especially being the ruler card here, and particularly with your query, I believe this is talking about a complete change. A change of who you are, not who you are completely, but a reinvigoration and a rechanging of life. Particularly in a sense, let's take this for example. When I was about 20, 21, had this girl, madly in love. She ended up cheating on me. I had a real breakdown, like a huge one. And then I went into a bit of a, I guess, bad phase. I guess the easiest way to explain it is a fuckboy phase. But I went really off the rails. But I didn't like that. And so I made a conscious effort to sit down and go, no, this isn't who I'm going to be anymore. I'm changing this leg of my race. What happened before? That was another leg. Still part of my race, and it's still part of my life, and I'm never going to deny that. But it's no longer the leg that I'm racing at the moment. It's a change of scenery, it's a change of races, it's a change of direction. And so that's the World card being, particularly with your query, it's huge. It's saying, like, I get the feeling it's saying there is a huge change. Where should I look to improve myself? Changing yourself, changing what it is, like almost a rebuilding of self. Now, the Ten of Swords and the Five of Pentacles, council cards, and so the Ten of Swords is a painful card, and again, it's in the past council position. I'll read what it actually says, because it'll articulate a lot better than I ever could. And that is, a difficult situation is near the end. A hard time is almost over. And because it's in the past council position. Now, the artwork again, you've got a man who's dead or dying, and in some of the other cards, he's actually got the Ten Swords stuck in his body. So it is that painful, you know, kind of death rebirth sort of feeling. Again, within my deck, with the swords are all glowing and holy, and it's that very much that death and rebirth. So from the past, death, you know, that strong death and rebirth, moving into the world, which is the, you know, the start of something new and the regrowth and the beginning. Because again, the world card, it's the last card in the major arcana, and then you're meant to revert back to the Fool, and that start of the, you know, that the new beginning of the journey. The future council card, the Five of Pentacles. This card is definitely saying, looking into the future, you're going to need help. And I did too. Everyone does. The moment you start pulling yourself apart and you're going, you know, you start ripping at your seams and you're going, no, pull this out. Okay, that's showing that flaw. I'll rip that out and pull this. Now I can see that bare. It's very hard to re-sew yourself back up by yourself. You know, there's some strings, like, you know, if I grab my seam here and I pull it and it goes all the way down my back and opens up all that particular part. Very hard for me to re-stitch that together. And so this is where the Five of Pentacles comes in. Having somebody who can help you and guide you and give you that assistance you need in this particular moment. You won't need it forever. You're just sitting there like, bruh, here's the needle, here's the thread. Could you just re-stitch up my back? So, and it's that needing of assistance in this rebuilding phase. Once you've got, you know, a solid foundation, you're like, okay, cool, I've got one house, it's got a roof, and thanks for letting me get that up before it became nightfall and, you know, I got rain all over me. The rest of the house can wait for another day. I have the beginning. I've got this single room and I can live in it, and it's enough to start off. But to get that really kick-started and moving, you need that assistance. Again, the Justice and the Five of Swords reversed. Again, says, definitely get the feeling of it saying, looking to your past and saying, you know, evaluate who you were and what happened, and, you know, those just rewards versus just outcomes. And, you know, if you're looking back and going, okay, I did X, I received Y, I didn't like Y, so how do I change X? Very much how the Justice card is meant to be looked, you know. It's kind of like neutral grain, the cereal. You only get out what you put in. So again, that's that. I believe that being here, especially tied with the Five of Swords reverse, as I was saying, which is that, you know, thinking a fight and thinking a challenge and thinking doing it this particular way is the only way to solve it. And it may be that that's what it's saying here. It's that you've been doing it one way for so long that you've got caught up in thinking that's the only way that I can do it. But the Justice card is saying, but you're getting Y results and you're not enjoying Y results. You have two choices here now, man. You can either continue to do, you know, X and get Y results and then not like them, and, you know, then you're back at square one, or you can change X, reevaluate who you are, develop into a new person, put in new X, and potentially get a different Y. Because, as you know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing twice and expecting different results. So, any feedback you want to provide on the query? Again, we're going to talk in Discord later on, so you're more than welcome to take this time to just be introspective. Maybe, you know, grab yourself a coffee, go sit outside. Again, I don't know what the time is there, but, you know, just, you know, maybe have a cigarette, have a coffee, sit down and actually think about this and go, okay. And that way you have a little bit more. See, I like to write things out whenever I'm thinking, because thoughts are just thoughts. The moment I say them, or the moment I write them, I give them actuality. They're no longer just thoughts, they're real. They have tangibility. Even just saying it is enough to go, okay, it went from here to here to here. This is why in the past, the idea of oration or being an orator, or to orate, was such a strong. I mean, it's all throughout mythology. It's all throughout history. It's the voice gives life, and that's why I was saying, don't ever think things, speak things. And in fact, I wander around out in my little lounge room area talking to myself all the time. I actually got caught by my brother once, and he was like, "The fuck you doing?" I'm like, "I'm orating." You heard of 2017, not orating, bruh? Really? But yes, so take this time. I saw that you said this is really hitting home. So take this time, think about the query, think about what I've said here, and let yourself mull those thoughts over. Say the things that really jump out at you, so that once you say them, they also get picked up by the ears and they get reset. And so it's hard to forget a thought that has been said. And then we can talk about it on Discord. But thank you for your query. I really enjoyed that one. Any sort of queries about the self, I love, because as I was saying before, I've been all over the spectrum of, you know, up here, down there, over there. And so I love self-development queries. They really, really, they're something that I truly get passionate about, if you can't tell. And so, yeah, thank you for that. That was a really fun reading to do. Angel. Paste. What does my future look like 5 to 7 years? Heads up, I am not good with time frames at all. I can do this query. Whether or not it hits that particular time frame of your 5 to 7 years, I can't guarantee, but I can say, you know, I can do the particular reading. You know what, Admiral Wrinkler? Oh, you hit it on the money. It is really, it is as depressing and lonely as the Forever Alone stage, and I've been in both. But yeah, so Angel, I'll do the reading for you. In fact, I'll do tarot and I'll do an energy scrying reading. But no guarantees on particularly 5-7 years. Again, time frames just aren't my thing. They don't seem to. I've tried them, and I've tried to be able to set them. Okay, cool. That's fine. I can do the query. It's just I didn't want you to be like, bruh, this happened in 8 years, not 7. What is wrong with you? I don't even know how you'd find me in 8 years. I doubt. I don't know if I'll still be here. I hope so. What do we got? Black arrow, red tip. You always choose weapons. I find that's cool. Oh, that's an interesting reading. Get some clarification on it. Alrighty. Get them into a position where they're good and seeable. There we go. Right, so we have the Nine of Pentacles reversed and the Ace of Cups reversed. This is ruled over by the Nine of Pentacles, and this is cancelled by the Seven of Pentacles reversed and the World reversed. So, interesting combination of cards. Lots of reverse cards. The only upright card is the Ruler card. But we'll get into the empath reading first. So, I stood inside looking out a window, and it was pouring down rain, just absolutely pouring down rain. I kept staring out the window, and then I looked away. I looked up at the clock, and I kept staring out the window. It was like I was waiting for someone, but I didn't see anyone. And so eventually I looked up at the clock and I got frustrated, so I went over to my coat rack. I grabbed a big trench coat, threw on a hat, I got to the front door, opened the door, I put my arm up and I looked out into the rain, and again, I sat there and I was just sort of looking and looking and looking. And then I sort of went and walked out into the rain. Now as I was out in the rain, I just wandered down alleyways, back and forth. This part didn't seem like I was looking for someone particular, it was more like I was just needed to be out here. And as I was walking down an alleyway, there was a gentleman in the same sort of outfit, trench coat, hat, mostly because it was raining, at the end of the alleyway. And so I walked up to him, or actually I was walking past him, and he stopped me. I turned to him, and he opened up his trench coat, and he beckoned for me to do the same. I did. He leaned in close so that we, were covered by the rain, and he took out a package, passed it over to me, put it inside my trench coat, closed up his, and walked away. At the time, I've gone, alright, it was like it was kind of expected, but not. I just sort of rolled with it. So I continued about. And then, as I continued walking down the street, I was, in the rain, I saw a woman, and she was waiting on the side of the street, wanting to get through the rain. I came up and I offered, offered up her my trench coat and covered her as we moved away through, and I got her to her place, and she went inside. And then when I got home, eventually I wandered back home, and I walked back in the door, and it was being out in the rain felt like it was what I needed to do that night, and I was feeling pretty good. So. And then I grabbed the coat and I threw it on the ground, and that's when I heard the thump. I've gone, that's right, the package. Got the package, unwrapped it, and it was a photo album. And I opened up the photo album, and it had pictures of me doing things that I hadn't done before. And again, I flipped through. I got about, 2/3 of the way through the book, and then it was blank. And that was the reading. And so, very interesting one, very weird one. But we'll get into the rest of the spread. Oh, this bloody heat is driving me mad because it's bringing mosquitoes in. So we got the Knight of Pentacles reversed and the Ace of Cups reversed. This is ruled over by the Nine of Pentacles, and this is cancelled by the Seven of Pentacles reversed and the World reversed. Interesting one. Lack of cups. Distinct lack of... Well, actually, that's not true. There's one cup here, but it's turned upright. And so, trying to do, the future particular thing, dissecting each card and where it may play in, and, combinations. We'll get into that now. This is going to be a bit of a wordy reading. Again, good thing I can throw it up on YouTube, so you can always come back to it. So the Knight of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups reversed. I believe these two cards are trying to tie in together. So the Knight of Pentacles talks about resting on your laurels or not doing anything. And so the Ace of Cups reversed is, running from love or running on empty, refusing grace. So I believe these two cards are saying that particularly your love life is going to become stagnant. Again, that vision with the woman, it was very platonic. It wasn't so much I wanted to be with this woman, or it was less the fact that she was a woman and more the fact that I think it's the because again my scrying and my visions are less literal and more metaphorical. It's women tend to be more, what's the word, the fairer sex. You do something for a woman because it's I take her and I look after, and I do that chivalrous duties. Mosquitoes are horrible here, and I live near a river inlet full of mangroves and mud, so they're just... and so that's the thing. It was less about connecting with this woman and more about doing the chivalrous thing. So it may be that I get the feeling your love life is going to be not stagnant, but not going anywhere in particular. You'll have connections, this will flow in and that will flow out. Again, as I was saying with the vision, as I had the coat over the woman and we're going through the rain, it was that frantic sort of dash through the rain. And when I got her to the door, to her place and whatnot, it wasn't so much oh, thank you so much, do you want to come in? It was, very much have a good night, you're welcome. So these connections that you have with love, I believe are going to be frantic. Like if you do have them, I don't believe they're going to be love-based connections, but more like they're going to be frantic connections with females that don't really go anywhere. Now, the Nine of Pentacles is a ruler card. It's a really great card, and because it's talking about building your life, specifically you, in the sense of rather than the Nine of Pentacles is building you, rather than the Ten of Cups, which is building a happy house with somebody else, and it's that lovey-dovey. This is about building your life from the ground up. You are happy. And it's interesting because the card has a woman, and she's single, and she's in a garden, she's got her birds, and she's doing her thing. And that's a big indicator here, is that she's single and happy. And so it's that very much a building your own life and feeling self-satisfied in your hobbies, in your in your work, in who you are and what you're doing in life. Now, so again, that's a nice card to see, and it's going to be that, that building of yourself and that building of where you're going, and that slow getting to the point where you're going, I'm happy with me. I'm happy with who I am. I'm not content 100%. I want to keep growing. I want to keep going, but I am happy with who I am and what I am. Now, the Seven of Pentacles reversed is now. We'll check that because I see it upright, not very often. So, okay. So one of the lines in the book: not learning from past mistakes, and the fact that it's in the past counsel card is what made me go ooh. So again, maybe that you're going to have a lot of events which you've already encountered and which you've already had spark up again, especially playing up on that past counsel position, and it may be that's what. Tying back into the vision, the guy who gives you the photo album, and it may be that it's going to be, again, the connection there wasn't predetermined. It very much felt like an off chance sort of meeting, and so again, those sort of things is these events that you've already lived, and these moments and these not word to word, but within the same vein, are going to pop up again and going to have chance encounters and going to have these same sort of, again, this probably leads into the world reverse, which is that continuation of cycle, that, not ending a cycle, but rather being stuck in a cycle, and that stagnant repeating. Not necessarily always a bad thing, per se. It may be that it's just tying back to this and saying there's going to be a repeat of what's been happening, back and forth, back and forth. And so it's that almost like a Groundhog Day sort of feeling to it, where it's like you have a chance to make your own album. Like I was saying, I was flipping through and I was seeing things that, I hadn't done before. Sort of like they were me and I knew they were me. These were events that hadn't happened to me, but then as I got forwards, it was that. So I'm guessing it's sort of like the looking back on these particular pictures in the album book going, okay, that picture there led to that, because they weren't like a photo album where you see like photos and it's like, oh, that's a happy event. It was very much telling a story with each page, if that makes sense. So it's like that leads to that, which leads to that, which ended with that. And as I kept flipping through, it was more events, more events, more events. And I believe that's the same thing, as it's saying these events are going to spark up again, and they're going to be ones from your past. Learn from them, you know, realize and, you know, be intelligent enough. This isn't intelligence as in like, oh, I'm smart, put on my glasses. This is more emotional intelligence, being able to identify when things are sparking up. And so it's that ability to look back and go, okay, that happened. That was the outcome I had back in my life. Gotcha. How do I want a different outcome now? And it's that, you know, that reliving and being able to rebuild. So, this spread was, again, considering it wasn't that concise, a little bit all over the shop. But I guess the big thing to take from it would be, love's not really going to go anywhere for a while. It seems to still be bit stagnant, as you were saying, you know, love life is not existent right now. Same sort of thing, and this may be because you're running from love. Again, the Ace of Cups can talk about running on empty or refusing love. Nonetheless, though, your personal life and the way that you're going to be building yourself is going to see great growth. You're going to see, you know, growth within your happiness within yourself, your building of your personal life. Now, the Seven of Pentacles reversed, the world reversed, and as I was saying with that vision, that cycle, that continuation, these reliving of events within different veins, leading you to the ability to have different outcomes. And it may even be, if you're the type of person who likes to test different outcomes and be like, oh, you know, I did this back in the day, I wonder if what would happen if I would have done that. And very Groundhog Day sort of feel to those particular cards tied in with that vision. So yeah, if you have any feedback, feel free to swing it at me. As I said, this video is going to go up on YouTube, so you do have a reference material to come back to. Which you're more than welcome to be like, hey, by the way, completely screwed it up, you got it wrong, got a girlfriend, but my life went to shit. Fuck you. But yeah. Alrighty. Silver Traveler Circle. Actually put in a picture. Thank you. Alrighty. I think I might make these two queries my last ones. Let's get rid of that link. There we go. Thanks, man. I would really appreciate that. I do love getting feedback from my querents, and I love hearing back from them. It's drinkable temperature. Probably doesn't help I'm drinking hot coffee on a hot day. Oh, baby, it's already up to 35. Ouch. Not even summer yet. But, so, this and the reading I'll do for Daedroth, I'll leave those at that, because it'll hit 2 hours, and 2 hours seems to be the mark where I get the best out of, like, the queries at the day, and then it, you know, ties in nicely to how much time it takes to upload the video, so, but yeah, so, Admiral, what are we talking about in the way of character traits? Are we talking about, like, flaws, or virtues, or, you know, are we talking spoopy, or are we talking more mundane? Anything like that? Like, you know, give me a little bit more clarification about where I should be going, because traits I possess that I'm not aware of is very... I'm doing that thing where I do the hand gestures under the table again. Very open. Maybe I should just put a camera down there and just be like, ooh. Oh god, I can't believe I said that. A little bit more clarification would be fantastic to figure out, especially if I'm going to run with an energy scry, to give myself a little bit more area about where I should poke and where I should look in your energy. If he's even there. Crotch cam. Hell yeah, crotch cam. You guys haven't heard it before? You can see all that. I'm not even going to get into that. No. Stop it, Daedroth. Stop it. You're gonna get me banned on YouTube and Twitch. Well, it depends exactly what you want me to look at. Like, again, oh, phone posting. But in sense of, do you want me to look in your energy, particularly if there's like a spoopy potential, if there's, you know, again, it's more of like, what do you want? Because again, this is a query. I'm assuming that you chose Energy Scry because you want me to tap into your energy particularly and have a look at what's going on in there and, you know, see if there's anything I can pick up on. I'm just trying to concise where exactly I'm going to go because I don't want to be stripping layers off left, right, and center, or just like, you know, diving straight in. So yeah, no, if there's any particular focus on exactly what you're interested in me looking for and what potentially, like, what traits you're interested in. If you're like, you know, oh, look at, you know, me as a person, is there anything that I'm lacking that I need to develop? Or done. Easy. I've done plenty of these. I know exactly what I'm doing. Silver Traveler's Circle. So that's what it looks like. Cool. Looks pretty cool, actually. I might carve up one of those. Alrighty. Oh wait, I kind of regret hitting the face cam because I know I make the dumbest fucking faces when I do that. So, getting into the reading, so I had a look at your energy first, and then it went into a vision, and so, first things, intensive in spoopy potential. Yes, but with a big no. It sort of feels like you've locked it down yourself, whether or not this is a conscious or subconscious effort. When I have a look at an energy, pink is the one, like the color that I associate with that sort of potential and that, you know, occultism, divination, energy manipulation, that sort of a spoopy potential is what I've done it. And it's sort of like, really it was hard for me to figure out what it actually, that type of energy was in the beginning, because I didn't find many people, you don't run into many people with that sort of energy. And so it was only when I started coming to X and started doing the energy reading for other readers on X that I was like, what is this? So categorized it as pink. So your pink energy feels like it's almost bound up and tied up with the greens and the reds. Now the reds is not bad, but it's sort of that negative aspect. So it could be, you know, ego, could be scars, could be you're just a horrible person. But so, and the green is very much a sort of that growth and nurturing and building sort of energy. And so feels like this spoopy potential of yours is very much locked up by, I'm assuming, one, past experiences and trauma involved with the spoopy, and two, you're too much grounded in the focus of life. Again, green being that very physical sort of energy, that growth of things, and that, you know, I mean, green energy is very much about like growth, physical growth, and that, you know, building of your area around you. And so that's there's potential, but it is very much locked down. Now, when I went into the vision, it was very much I was sitting at a desk. I love this. It's always the same desk too. I really like it. It's like this old ornate wooden desk, and it's got the wood grain still very thick, and you can see it, and it's very nice. And I'm sitting at a desk, and to the left of me is a bonsai tree, and to the right of me is like an imp in a cage. So I pick up a little watering can, I water the bonsai tree, and I put it down. And then the imp starts going crazy. And so again, the more I water this, this plant, the more the imp goes ridiculous and like rattling on the cage. And every time that, it gets too much and it's starting to like roll the cage around, I sort of punch the cage and give it like a, hey, stop that. So it's sort of like anytime the spoopy starts to grow and get to the point where it's taking your attention away from the other things that are going on in you, you sort of like lock it down again and like smack it on the nose and go, no, stop that. Cut it out. That's kind of creepy and spoopy. But yeah, so there's potential, but it seems that you've got yourself very much locked down and like, do not want to touch. No, thank you. So, potential, but it seems that you yourself either subconsciously or consciously are making it not something that you want to touch. Very much a lockdown on it. But yeah, thank you for your query. I enjoyed that. That was I always do like a little bit of off queries. Who was the one that gave me? Oh, you know what? I haven't seen that spoopy guy in a while. He was real creepy. Every time I did a reading for him, it was always dark and mysterious and really weird. And I'm like, I know that you gave me a different name and different things, but I know it's you. So always very what's the word? Yeah, definitely ties in that hold off onto it reading, especially that grounding yourself. I believe, again, that focus on the bonsai tree, focus on reality. It may very well seem that right now you need to come to terms with what has happened before. Again, actually that ties in really well. That blockages to these, that spoopy potential is these past scars. Again, that red energy being about scars or egotism or, those bad things. When I see it on somebody's energy and I don't particularly think they're a dick, it usually tends to be emotional scars or scars that have sort of dug deep into our energy. I have my own. Will not lie. And so that's definitely, they seemed like they were acting as the major ring around this pink energy. So again, hold off on it, work on these scars, have that bit of a, introspection and meditation, like you said, and research and try to figure out how to grow beyond it. Ooh, damn, Daedroth. Big query. We will smash this one out and we'll see what happens. My poor deck, she's getting so old. I don't want to get a new deck. I just wanted to be okay and alive. Ooh, baby. Alrighty, so bring these down here. Is that looking better? That looks a bit better. So we've got the Six of Pentacles reversed and the Knight of Cups reversed. This is ruled over by the Tower reversed, and this is counseled by the Page of Cups and the Page of Swords. Interesting combination with the two pages as the counsel cards. So, first things first, Tower reversed. So again, we're talking about before with the duality, so it's either, denying something has happened or making a mountain out of molehills or being melodramatic. Now, the Six of Pentacles usually talks about giving charity and offering help, and so when it's reversed, it's that having the ability to give help, but not giving it. It's that very much a, oh, look at you need help. So, So yeah, it's that ability to give help, but not giving it. Now, Knight of Cups reversed, not seeing this. Daydreaming when you shouldn't. Don't let romantic ideals take you away from your path. Ah, well, isn't that a very clear card? Basically paints how the tower is looking, denying something major has happened. So do I need to work on some part of myself before I should worry about chasing a girlfriend? The Knight of Cups here, I think, is like, the Knight of Cups reverse is very much that big slap in the face, especially with the Six of Pentacles reversed. Now, the Six of Pentacles, I always like it because it talks about offering charity and helping, but it's, a lot of people tend to see it as an external card. I like to also see it as a very internal card. I can offer myself help. I can, for example, when I was quite overweight, one of the things I could do to offer myself help was to work out. And that was the thing, is, that was a method in which I could give charity to myself. And so if you look at yourself as two entities, you have the ability to help yourself of yourself. And so that's the thing, is the Six of Pentacles here is definitely saying you have the ability to help yourself, you're not doing it though. And again, tied it with the Knight of Cups reversed is because you've got your head in the clouds going, oh, she's fantastic, and oh, I can't wait to be with her. And so that Tower reversed, tying that all in together, saying, look, bruh, you still have things to do. Again, the Tower reversed, the Tower's exploded, it's crumbled to its foundations, and it's that, it's that denying that, no, it's not crumbled, it's only half destroyed, it's fine, I can bring a princess in here. It's the, bruh, fix your tower first. That may be a euphemism. But yeah, it's the, fix your tower first, build yourself back up, get your tower back up into the, back up to a standard in which you can bring a woman into it. It's maybe talking very much about your life specifically. Now, the two pages are interesting. I want to actually get their things here because, so Page of Cups, you're experiencing an emotional situation, one you probably don't have much experience with. You have the strength and conviction to face the outside world, and the Page of Swords, you're ready to face a new challenge. The theory and logic are clear to you. You have all the tools you need. You know exactly what to do and how to do it. So these two cards as the council cards are basically saying, look, with your head and your heart, you can figure you out. You can build yourself. The Page of Cups being very emotional and very about, emotional situation. It's that inspiration that goes, no, I've pulled my tower down, I want it to have this beautiful part here, and I want that room over there. And you have the Page of Swords here as well going, okay, that's very cool, heart, but we need to also think logically. It's like, we can't have that exactly like the way you think it because it won't be stable enough. But if we twist it a little bit like this, then it can be, it can be structurally sound. So, do I need to work on some part of myself before I should worry about chasing a girlfriend? Yes. I believe this may very well be what we talked about earlier with the Army Reserves. It may be that there is a thing there to build yourself, and that may be an avenue in which you will actually build yourself before you find a girlfriend. Especially when how you say mentally ready. Page of Swords, very logic, very mental. And as I was saying before, that King of Swords and the Empress reverse tying in together and, making that, that heart, body, and, heart, body, and soul. Heart, mind, body. There we go. And that, so that sort of combination there. And so, yeah, to answer your question, there's things that you still need to work on, there's things you need to build, but you have the tools and you have the understanding, you have the logic and the emotion to follow through and to actually see this to fruition. But yeah, no, thank you for your queries, guys. I had a fantastic day doing readings despite how hot it is and these stupid mosquitoes. But no, if you have any feedback about any of the spreads, you're more than welcome to swing me an email. Again, my email is empathau@gmail.com. If you wish to add me on Discord, which is probably the easiest method back and forth when it comes to talking, my believe if you go to my channel feed and check out my posts, I did post my particular Discord in there, and a link to the Discord group chat, which is Divcord. If you wanted to ever catch me in there and maybe have like a private reading or a talk back and forth. But no, thank you guys for joining me. I had a fantastic day doing readings. I really appreciate you guys being here. Always do. Again, if it wasn't for you guys, I would, I'd just be some random Australian guy talking to myself. So thank you for being here. I had a great time doing readings. I hope you guys enjoyed your readings. Wish you all the best with the rest of your week, and love and good vibes be with you.